It appears as if Stellar or XLM is cooling down somewhat. The price action was pretty much non-existent in the last few days. Let's have a look at what's causing this. Let's have a look at relative valuation charts. Let's have a look at data most people are not considering to figure out whether or not it still makes sense to buy XLM. Now, I've already released 2 videos on Stellar before on this channel, and those videos performed relatively well. Here's the first one, published 5 days ago. The average video is here in gray, and this is the performance of the first Stellar video. It performed 3.6 times better than average. A second video followed that was published 3 days ago, also slightly outperformed, and feel free to still have a look at those videos. The first one discussed the fundamentals and the usage, and the second one discussed the on-chain metrics, as in the number of buyers, sellers, number of retail investors, whale investors, buying, selling behavior, etc. Now we are currently at roughly 50 cents. And this month we had a very nice rally, more than 5x. But what's happening recently over here? Is there still upside potential? The price development of any asset is the result of demand versus supply, and the supply is dictated by the tokenomics, as in how many new tokens hit the market, how many tokens get allocated to the team that might sell off, or to early investors that might sell off, or maybe to supporters of the project that might get tokens over time. And the numbers regarding the supply don't really add up. So have a look at this. This is Messari.io, and it shows us various issuance charts of XLM. And it seems like since 2020 there was 0 issuance, as in the supply stayed completely stable. However, when we look at CoinMarketCap and we look at the very long-term charts, and we compare this price top over here to the top at the current rally, we obviously see that this current rally does not exceed this top. But when we look at the market cap comparisons, those 2 tops are very close to one another. So this would imply that the supply has actually grown since 2021, that the issuance was not 0 since 2020, as Messari.io implies. I do not know where this discrepancy is coming from. I do not know where those additional tokens are coming from. If you know what's going on, then feel free to comment this down below. Feel free to potentially also link an article down there so that we can all discuss this together. Now, there has been 2 founding rounds of Stellar. There was an undisclosed founding round in August of 2014 worth 3 million led by Stripe, and there was an ICO in March of 2015 where 2 million had been raised. Whoever bought into that ICO made a 162x return compared to the price today. Now let's say there was really 0 token inflation since 2020. How did Stellar perform, for example, relative to the rest of the crypto market? We see this in this chart here. This is XLM.D, so the Stellar dominance, how much of the entire cryptocurrency market cap is in Stellar. And that pretty much went flat. We are currently at 0.5%. The bear market did take a toll at Stellar. Stellar underperformed the rest. But with that pump recently, we are back to 0. When we look at Stellar relative to Bitcoin, the picture looks very, very similar. Sometimes Stellar is cheap, sometimes Bitcoin is cheap. And now we are pretty much at a balanced value. Neither high nor very low. And so Stellar is one of those OG coins, right? It's one of the very first altcoins that had ever been traded on the centralized exchanges. Thus, a lot of the token ownership is also held by the centralized exchanges. The Binances and Gate.ios of this world, they don't just hold tokens in custody of their customers, they also own tokens for market making. And so those large market makers, of course, have an interest in increased volatility and have an interest that the price sometimes goes up. Especially once we have altcoin season, we will probably see Stellar making another leg up. Will that happen today? I'm not sure. What we see over here is the Bitcoin dominance. So when this is crashing, that means that the altcoins do much better, and then of course Stellar can also outperform everything else. Historically, this tended to crash whenever the Bitcoin dominance was close to 70%. So this is when the altcoins did really, really well. We are not there yet. We are currently at 57%. I don't know if we are going to hit the 70% first before we see altcoin season. In the last few days, we definitely did see the altcoins doing quite nicely. But at the same time, we also see a lot of money flowing into the Bitcoin ETF through traditional finance. And that, of course, supports the Bitcoin price specifically. And so this is then how that looks like with the trading volume and the market making. For the spot market, Stellar or XLM is mainly traded on Binance. For the perpetual futures market, we see the exact same thing. More than 900 million worth of Stellar changed hands in the derivative market in the Binance perpetual futures. This is generating a lot of fees for Binance. This is a money printer. And so as already said at the beginning of this video, we've already looked at the on-chain metrics for Stellar in prior videos. So feel free to check that out. What's important to note though is that very little liquidity is directly on-chain. So we've got 21K over here, 2K over here. There's a lot of slippage. If you want to move $1,000 or $2,000 on chain, you're probably better off to just buy this directly on Binance. Still, sometimes it's interesting to look at the numbers. And in the last 24 hours, we have seen more sellers than buyers. In other words, the price went slightly up, so the buyers moved more per transaction than the sellers did. Now, here's a very interesting recent development. You very likely do not have access to this kind of chart. This here shows how much advertisers on my YouTube channel pay for 1,000 views of their ads. And it suddenly, out of nothing, spiked to roughly double of what it used to be. In other words, crypto projects, centralized exchanges, etc., they are now competing for advertising space in the crypto scene. And it's not just money that's flowing into advertising for crypto, there's also simply fiat money that's flowing into the space as a whole. The stablecoin market cap tends to rise, and it's recently even accelerating. So since October of last year, we see money flowing into crypto again. That of course causes a lot of crypto asset prices to go up. And especially in the recent days, since beginning of the month, we also see the altcoins going up in aggregate. So what we have over here is the others dominance. This is how much of all of crypto is in the altcoins that's not in the top 10. That went up by roughly 20% in the last month. And so pretty much everything is now going up. The art in crypto trading though is to buy early, right? It's to buy when the prices are still low. So for example, over here, the Chill Guy token, it's now at 50 cents. But I made a video on Chill Guy when it was still at 20 cents. And I hope a lot of you made money with that video because it was a quite popular one. And so this is the real art, right? We have to get into tokens when momentum is bullish and when there's still enough upside potential. And so this is what this channel is all about, right? It's about discussing tokens that a lot of people don't yet have on their radar. So feel free to subscribe. Now, how can I find tokens like Chill Guy early? Or how can I find things like the GOAT token or the ACT token early? Those are one of the largest pump.fun ecosystem tokens. This is a wallet tracking alert. How Kyle Chessy bought the GOAT token for 14 cents. That was over here. Since then, the price went up by more than 500%. Temporarily, it was up by more than 800%. Who's Kyle Chessy? It's this influencer over here. He's got 137,000 subscribers and he tends to be relatively early on trending tokens. And so here is how that works. We use on-chain analytics again to figure out who is owning what wallet. It's not a very easy task, but we've got an entire community that just focuses on that single task. Find wallets that are very useful, of insiders, of top traders, of influencers. Let's find those wallets and then track them. So over here, we've got the wallets that we track by Kyle Chessy. We've got 12 in total. Well, let's talk about the ACT token. Here's our signal for ACT. CryptoBanter bought the ACT token at 3.7 cents. Now it's at 58 cents. So an increase of 1,500% since that signal. And of course, temporarily, the gain was even higher, more than 2,000%. Now, where do crazy gains like this come from? They come from attention. They come from a lot of eyeballs getting into one single token. And so here are those eyeballs. This is the CryptoBanter channel. They've got 1.1 million subscribers. When they talk about the token, of course the token has to go up. And so we've got 33 of CryptoBanter's wallets. And so really, I think this is the better approach compared to just drawing random lines on price charts. I think it's better to follow the smart money. It's better to follow the insiders. It's better to simply copy trade the people that tend to make money in crypto. And I like this approach that much that I made a dedicated tutorial course just on this. How can we find various influencer wallets? How can we track those wallets? And how can we subsequently also interpret the signals that we get from the tracking? It's 8 videos in total. It's all part of Premium. So that's down below, thebitcoinstrade.com. Premium is not just about wallet tracking. It's also about on-chain analytics, right? The charts that we looked at today in this video. It's also about portfolio diversification, risk management, indicator backtesting. There's more than 100 tutorial videos in total. Once we get our wallet signals, we of course also have to discuss when should we buy, when should we sell. We have to compare the on-chain analytics. That's why we've got dedicated chats on the individual altcoins as well. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $165 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, in case you don't learn anything, simply just message me within the first 7 days and I'll refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. And so what is the upside potential for Stellar here? What is the bull case? How much more could XLM outperform Bitcoin in the best case? I think the air is getting thin over here. So this is the Stellar relative to Bitcoin price, and it does fluctuate in a relatively predictable trading range. We have bottomed out at a very similar level to March of 2017, and we also might top out at similar kinds of levels. And maybe the rallies that we have seen in the past are indicative of what could happen today, which would then imply that in the bull scenario, Stellar could outperform Bitcoin by another 367%. Now, I'm not saying that this will happen. We're simply just playing with the assumption that altcoin season is already starting now and that Bitcoin dominance doesn't have to rise all the way to 70%. Now, as said, I'm a fan of buying the rather smaller cap tokens. I'm a fan of buying cryptocurrencies that don't need that much money in order to move the price that much. I also prefer tokens where we've got more on-chain analytics, where most of the ownership is not in the hands of the centralized exchanges, because again, they can manipulate the price quite a bit. If you got value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers.